What's up, everybody? I'm Scott.
I'm Jason.
And you are listening to the first episode of 2020
Yes,
Liquid
Happy New
Kernedge.
Year. All right, we survived, baby. We survived.
Yes, we did. Well, in theory, we survived because, as we mentioned last week, I am currently traveling from New Orleans back to home as this is being released, and you're getting ready for your cruise. So we're assuming we
That
all
is true.
survived into
We're
the new
assuming
year.
a lot. So if we have to do any edits, we'll want the survivor of the podcast will put that out there for you, okay?
Yes, absolutely. And just to be fair, if it is me that does survive, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So if there's no more episodes released, it's because I'm the survivor. And I don't know
We'll
how to do
make this the best episode possible.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, because if I'm the one that goes, it's also the last episode too. So it's a double-edged sword. I feel like it's a no-win
this could
situation.
be historic right here. Oh gosh.
Right? Oh, so how have you been, my
The
friend?
holiday was good. We survived. Well, assuming we survived New Year's, we're about ready to go on our cruise on Saturday. We'll be gone for a week, but we'll still have an episode to record. And then sometime in the middle of January, there's going to be like a full-on catch-up.
Full-on catch-up of we're going to get back up to date with all the updated stuff that's going on in the world. I'm sure there's going to be a lot. We know there's going to be a lot. I can already tell you, based on what I'm reading in the news, 2020 is going to kick off like a race.
Wow.
It's a sprint.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. I think it's important to note that normally we would be doing a staff meeting to discuss, whether I get to renew my contract. But for those of you who go to @liquid_EP and saw the notes from last week, we got compliments from our executive producer about the great show that the Space Force was. So kudos to us. We finally hit a home run on a topic. I love that.
Right. And just as the Lord giveth, I'm sure the EP taketh away. Now that you've brought it up, I'm sure we'll get lambasted for that.
I did mess up the plug for @_EP Liquid. See?
Liquid_EP on Twitter and Instagram to talk to our EP Tom. But if you want to talk to us, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Kernedge, and tell us what you did for New Year's. Was it fun? Was it boring? Were you in bed in PJs by 6 p.m.? Or did you go out until the sun came up and welcomed 2020 the right way? We want to know. Well, you tell us.
To tell you and our listeners that the weekend before New Year's, we had to do a garage sale. We sold the house, and we need to start getting rid of some of the last belongings that we have in the house. So we decided to undertake the idea of a garage sale. And
yes, the only free weekend you have, the weekend between Christmas and New Year's.
So we decided to do it on a weekend that was projected for snow, and to do it on a weekend right after Christmas when no one has any money. So I guess that's two strikes against us, but that was not what was so telling about the garage sale experience that we had. I was totally perplexed and surprised as I looked through all of our belongings, the price that I paid originally for items that ultimately sold for pennies on the dollar in some cases. Pennies on the dollar.
That's why people yard sale. You get smoking deals.
And there were so many things that I bought. I was like, wow, I just paid that much money for something that in the whole scheme of things is not worth that much on the resale value. Yes. And why is that, Scott? Why do you think that is?
It's used. I mean, it's one thing if you bought something brand new, never been used, it works perfectly, have all that, there are no issues with it. You can pay full retail value. You can pay a high dollar number because it's going to work. If you're going to a yard sale, you are basically buying at your own risk.
Okay. So I get that. But for example, a DVD. Okay. Now, some of these DVDs that I bought, I spent $20, $30 on.
That's true. And I will openly tell you, I looked through your DVDs thinking maybe there's something I don't have that maybe I just can't live without. But then I thought, Scott, you don't even have a DVD player.
I know, but you have an Xbox.
You stream. Yeah, but I stream everything. And, it's one of those, if you can't find it online, then I guess you could pull out the DVD, but it's a dead art. I mean, I'm surprised you weren't selling cassette tapes.
That's a good point. I also think of it from this standpoint. When you're selling DVDs in this technological era, you're basically selling to the people that have fought and resisted any sort of streaming, Netflix, anything like that. They basically said, no, I am not going to do it.
Which, if you're doing that, you are doing with the right venue, selling it in a yard sale venue, because those are the people that probably are fighting the 2020 culture of everything's streaming, everything's online. They want it in hand, and that would be the baby boomer generation, because a lot of them, as they get older, do not want to get with the times. My dad being a prime example.
But he you know, when I looked at all of our belongings that we did sell, some people were getting a smoking deal. Like, they got some really nice things for very inexpensive. And these are the same people that probably go home and brag. You know, they fill their house with my stuff that's in really good shape, and they say, man, look at this great deal I got for this price. You know, and they're like happy as anything. Yeah. So I felt good that I was helping people, you know, get some nice things without having to pay an arm and a leg for them. But another part of me was like, hey, you know what? That's a perfectly good item. Pay the full price. Don't try to jerk me around on price.
Well, you know, at that other point, though, just to play devil's advocate, you know, before I played devil's advocate, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Okay. That's why you're selling it at a discounted rate. My mom has made a second career out of going to junk stores and whatever else and finding stuff like you're selling at a very deep discounted rate, and doing the research to find out how much money it's actually worth, and selling it online to people that actually want to pay full price.
You know, and this is kind of a fascinating topic anyways, when it comes to what something is actually worth, because they had a story on NBC where a piece of art sold for $150,000 that was basically a piece of tape covering, like a banana taped to a white canvas with a piece of duct tape. And it sold for $150,000. And I thought to myself, how is that possible? How is that possible? But the value that someone places on something is different for everyone. So when people say, well, that car is worth $300,000 or $30,000, it's only worth that if someone's willing to pay for it.
Yeah, if someone pays you $5 for it, the car's worth $5.
Now, so I have a banana and I can get some duct tape, but no one's going to pay me $150,000. So it goes to tell, well, how come this particular banana with a piece of tape on it went for $150,000? I don't know.
Well, it's also recognition of who did it. Are they a famous artist? In this case, you're known more in the podcasting world than the canvas art world. So I don't know if you could fetch $150,000 for that, but you know, maybe you stepping out on your own, being the Justin Timberlake of the group, of the duo, maybe that's how you become famous, by creating art, by putting fruit on canvas with duct tape.
And so you said it best. I mean, some people will look at the same item and value it differently. You know, that's what I've done. Is I was going through this yard sale and realizing that, hey, there are some things that I don't value at all that someone is willing to pay good money for. You know, it works both ways. I think the same thing happens with cars. I never buy a brand new car. I've never been one of those people that wants to be trendsetter, have the brand, you know, this brand spanking new vehicle. But mainly also because they lose so much value the minute you drive it off the road. I mean, drive it off the lot.
Yeah. And I think the difference, and there's two schools of thought in that, because I'm the opposite. And I'd prefer to have newer vehicles with full warranties and whatever else, because if they break or whatnot, I don't have to pay top dollar to have it fixed, because cars are not cheap to fix anymore. Everything is computerized. Everything is streamlined and very, very expensive to fix. And if I don't have to fix it or pay money out of my pocket, why would I want to? I'll just go use my warranty.
Let me ask this question, Scott. How long do you have to keep your truck before you can trade it in and break even, where you're not having to finance part of the previous truck?
You know, I've never had to do that. I've always come out ahead on my trucks when I've traded them in. And I usually keep them between 3 and 4 years.
So you're saying that you make the payments for 3 or 4 years, it pays down the principal enough that your value of what's left in trade usually will not be where you have to owe money or get financed money in the next truck payment.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I drive an F-150 and they tend to hold their value pretty well, especially in today's world. So I tend to keep a lot of value in what I'm trading in. So most trucks, most of those trucks brand new are between $50,000 and $70,000, depending on the style you get. And if you wait 4 or 5 years, they're still $30,000 for a 4 or 5
I
year
was
old
looking
truck.
because I was thinking about updating my truck and looking at a truck, and I was looking for 4 or 5 years old, and I was still shocked how expensive those trucks are. They're $20,000-$30,000 for a used vehicle.
And that's the thing. If you're going to pay that much for a used vehicle, why not pay another 10 grand for
Yeah,
something brand new?
my friends live in a kind of an affluent community in Denver, and they bought a Range
Mm-hmm.
Rover. They put 30,000 down and still had to finance 60,000. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but the value of that doesn't seem worth it to me. But it gets back to the same question of what you see is valuable and what I see is valuable is different. That's why you're willing to get a brand new truck because you see the value in it that's different from me. But I'm willing to buy something that's a higher value than you are because of what I value being more important than other things.
Exactly. And I think it all comes down to value. What we spend our money on, uh, really, I think kind of shows the kind of people we are. Some people they don't need to live fancy. They can live in smaller homes and live very basic lives. And the extra money they have, they go and they travel, they see the world, they do whatever else. Other people that they can make the same money but not travel enough to have a nicer home, something with upgrades that they can be in for 20 to 30 years and feel completely comfortable with because they don't want to
Can you think
see the
of an
world.
example of someone who or something who where they buy something where you say, "Wow, that is the biggest waste of money that I've ever seen"? I have
Oh,
a friend.
say
I
without
have a
getting in
friend
trouble.
who loves Louis Vuitton purses, loves them, and will
Mm-hmm.
buy them, and probably has between 10 and 15 of them. Now, if you don't know
Mm-hmm.
Louis Vuitton, for those of our listeners that don't know Louis Vuitton, those purses are like at least $2,000 to $3,000 a piece, depending on what kind of purse you get. So if you have,
And they do the same thing. Do the same thing that the $10 purse at
yeah,
Walmart does.
right. So 10 to 15 of those at 30, let's say 3,000 a piece. That's 40 to $50,000 worth of purses, right? So one time I said, man, I
Mm-hmm.
got to see what a $3,000 purse looks like. It's got to. She went to
Fair.
a closet where it was still in the box that she bought it in. So she doesn't even use it. To
Yeah.
me, that just seemed like a total waste. But there are probably women out there that are yelling right now at the podcast saying, "You are an idiot. You don't know anything if you think that that's a waste of money."
Well, that's the thing. It's like if we don't think it's a waste of money, or if $3,000, I'll tell you right now, is a lot to pay for a purse. I don't care
Right.
what it does. And what are you trying to prove with that? Especially if you're not taking it out of the box, out of the closet. If you're not going to use it, it doesn't. You wasted money. It's not
Okay.
an
Okay.
investment.
Yeah. Well, and I think.
And that's what
Go ahead.
I'll say. A lot of people will do that. They'll buy Louis Vuittons. They'll buy classic cars because they're quote unquote investments. Because in some theories, those do go up in value if they become rare. If they become all the original serial numbers on, we'll say, like a '67 Mustang, then yeah, that's worth 6 figures now. But if you pull a '67 Mustang out of the scrapyard and rebuild it, it's worth exactly what you put
Yeah.
into it.
I've always wondered too because it seems like it goes in a cycle. Like your car day one is worth a lot, right? Then day
Mm-hmm.
two and the first couple of years, you're going to lose a pretty heavy chunk of the value of that house or of the car, right? Then it becomes a
Mm-hmm.
classic, like a '67 Mustang. If it's still in good shape, now it shoots way past what you originally paid for it because it's so rare of a car. It's like a cycle of value that comes from these older cars like that. I wonder if Louis Vuitton purses are the same way.
Yeah, but can you wait 25 years to find out?
Well,
That's
you
the
read these
thing.
stories all the time about these old guys that buy these, '67 Camaros, put them in a garage under a tarp for 40 years, and then, the guy dies and the family's going through the garage and says, "Oh, I got to get rid of Uncle Billy's, garage stuff," and finds this brand new '67 Camaro or whatever, and it's worth like $150,000 because it's been sitting, it has no mileage on it.
Yeah, yeah. And those are the deals that people are out looking for. Like I said, my mom does that every week at junk shops and Goodwill. She just finds those deals. She researches them, and finds out what they're worth, and then she will use the stuff or display it until she's bored, and then she'll just take it back and turn it in
So
and
when
start
your
over
mom,
again. In some
where did
cases,
your
she'll
mom
sell it.
research the stuff for like what she buys? Because she has a lot of really neat pieces in her homes, but I don't know whether or not they're
Yeah.
where the value comes. But she has a lot of neat pieces in her homes.
She goes the internet. She has books. There's websites, eBay. She can dive deep to find what a lot of the value is there, and she's very proud of the fact that she's bought very few brand new things for any of their three homes, decorative wise. I mean, obviously couches, TVs, beds, whatever, that stuff's all new, but decoration wise, 90% is all antique, all stuff that's been used through junk stores
I
and
think also
whatnot.
though too is that she finds stuff in good condition. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. If it's crap and it can't be
yeah,
cleaned up,
yeah.
she
Your
won't
mom
touch it.
does good with that, finding those values. That's one thing I'll give my ex-wife. She was always really good about going to like a yard sale or going to a thrift store and finding something that she could turn around on eBay and sell for like 20 times what she paid for it. She's had that knack. I've never
Yeah.
had that knack. It just that's not a skill set I have, but she was always really good at that too.
Now that being said, this game that she plays for her retirement, I'm talking
Oh,
about my mom. And eventually, when she does die, pass on, whenever, that leaves my brother, my dad, and I, or the remaining members of the family, a very large inventory of stuff to sell. So think about what you're going through with your yard
yeah.
sale, what you went through, and then multiply that by
Oh,
50.
geez.
But understand that everything there has more intrinsic value than, oh yeah, I bought this, on this magnet in Virginia City.
Now, well, that's the other thing
You
too
know,
is that I would think with some of your mom's stuff too, that's a specialized market of people who are going to buy that stuff. You're not going to put that in a yard sale and have people go through that, right? I mean that has to be done specially through
no,
a
that'll
broker or
probably be
something.
that'll probably be through an auctioneer or a broker, something completely different. It's not anything that's going to be um, just open up the garage and say, "There
Yeah,
you
that's
go."
crazy.
You know, I think my brother and I are smart enough to realize that that's not how to do this, and that's not the way to do this. And with me being in the same town as them, and Tom being in Phoenix, it's going to be me that has to do it, and I'm not going to sit out there and watch the local yard
Yeah.
sailors pick that apart. Smarter than that.
Yeah,
So
that'll be fun for you. Yeah, we did our yard
yeah,
sale, and it was funny how these people like that's what they do is they go to yard sales, so all of them knew each other. Like they go, hey Tom,
yeah.
hey Carl, how you doing? Good to see you. I'll see you at the next one. And all I could think about is, oh my gosh, this is like a little hidden world, like a black market world of these people going to yard sales and fighting over all the good deals, and all the stuff. And
But I got to ask you though. I got to ask you. We have a friend that does this. Our friend
yeah.
Ron. Did you see Ron this morning?
I didn't see Ron actually. I did not see Ron. Now he might be coming. The day we recorded this was after the first day. He might be there the second day. So I'm going to say that yes, we're going to see him tomorrow. However, we did not see him on the first day. And I would have thought the first day all the people that like to buy a bunch of stuff would have come out, but they didn't.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head though. When you're picking a yard sale, you guys just based on your availability didn't pick the most ideal week for yard sales, just based on the fact that it's between Christmas and New Year's. No one has a lot of money right now. The weather's not good, and you're only going to get the diehards, not the people that are just bored looking around because it's Saturday morning and they want to drink their coffee and
So let me ask you
scavenge.
this question: have you ever done one of those yard sales where a bunch of houses on a block get together and do it on the same day? You've done those.
Yes,
Okay, how does that work? Does that work any better or does that work
yes.
worse?
It doesn't make a difference to me. I think if you have more of a selection, you attract more people. But I'm not much of a yard sale
Yeah.
creator. I'd rather just take the stuff to Goodwill and take the
Oh,
tax
okay.
write off.
So, do you ever
You know,
use like OfferUp or Kingman Buy Sell Trade or any of those?
I have used them in the past, and I'll peruse them. I'll peruse the Facebook Marketplace. I've sold a boat and a camper for my parents on the Facebook markets, and I feel like you get a broader reach there than the actual buy sell trades.
Okay, interesting. Because I found that using OfferUp, I get a lot of people that just want to, like, I'm giving it to you for 25 cents on the dollar, but I want to buy it from you for 15 cents on the dollar. I get that all the time.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also you're dealing in a major metro area
Oh,
versus,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't think our community is as aware of that, or a lot of people are aware of things like OfferUp around here. They're still getting used to the buy sell trades and so
You know,
forth.
the other thing is that there's a ton of people that look at the buy sell or the OfferUp, and I get that. But I think the other thing that's hard for me when I'm balancing that is when someone makes a counter offer to whatever your asking price is, you have to balance out. I want to get rid of it, but I don't want to get screwed over on it. And I get frustrated with that timing because sometimes it's like, yeah, if he's asking for $25 less, but I get rid of it, is it worth $25 to me to get rid of it?
Yeah, and that's an ego
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
that
that's
I would have a very hard time with myself, because I don't like being taken advantage like that, and keeping my mouth shut and not calling them an idiot or worse would be a very hard thing for
now.
me.
Have you ever had the situation where, see, there's been a lot of people that ask for a lower price, and I said, yeah, that's fine. One lady asked for a lower price, and for whatever reason, I took it wrong. I took it like, no, you're gonna pay double now. Okay, that's how that you're gonna pay double because I'm done with your shit. And I had to calm myself and then say, no, I'll take the deal. That's fine. I'm glad it's going to a good home. Blah blah blah. But she just hit me the wrong way, man. She just hit me the wrong way.
Yeah, and some people do that, and I think those yard sales can be pretty direct. I mean, they know how the game gets played, and I think they probably feel like, just like you said, you want to get rid of it. They want the best deal possible. And if you really want to get rid of it, you'll pay their price.
Yeah.
Their offer. You'll take
And
their
there's some
offer.
things that I'm willing to, like, we had a deal, we had something on there that I was willing to go down to this set price. The guy came back to me and said, I'll take it for less than what your bottom line is. And I just said, no, I want this. And he thought about it for a second. He said, okay, I'll get you the money. So
Yeah. And some people just want to negotiate, which is fine. I'm okay with that, because I do that too. But, lowballing to lowball, and no, man, just you could be a decent person about it too. But you have to kind of know the value of what you're looking at as well.
I think that's the key because I know there are some things, especially when it comes to automotive stuff, that I have no idea what the value is. I have no concept. So we sold something today, and I am positive that we probably like just gave it away. Might as well just given it away. That's how low the price was. But my thing
Mm-hmm.
has always been this: if I haven't touched something in 7 years, how valuable can it still be?
No, I agree.
How
I agree.
valuable, like one of the things we sold, it's been at this house in Kingman for probably at least 20 years. At least 20 years. Nah, maybe, okay, 15 years. It's been, and frankly, it's been in the same spot for 15 years. So you tell me how that's supposed to be any valuable when it's been sitting in the same spot for 15 years.
No, I agree. I'm right
You
there
know?
with you. But you know what? It's all in how someone values it, and what they're willing to pay for it.
And I'm sure that this
It's
guy, because I said, look, make me an offer. And he said, do you take this? And I said, sure. Now, I'm sure that the person who bought the engine probably said, oh my gosh, this guy just sold me an engine for this money. I took it.
Well, I think in that particular field, though, too, it's you talk about like an engine for a car that you're rebuilding. Those guys generally have a good idea of what an engine is, and they're not gonna lowball you too much. They'll probably give you the low end of fair, but it's still, if you don't know the value, it doesn't make a difference to you. You're getting it gone.
Yeah,
Who
and my
cares?
thing was this: is that I'm looking at it from this standpoint. Um, it was worth nothing to me but a paperweight on a cement, driveway. Now it's gone, and I got some cash out of it.
Exactly. So you know what you made money. It's gone. No, everyone
So
wins.
here's a perfect example. So there was an old Ford Mustang body in our driveway for years here at the house. We had a
Mm-hmm.
company, one of the salvage places, that actually gave us $38 and towed it, and we thought we got a smoking deal. This engine we got for $50, and they took it as well. So yeah, so it was good.
You know what?
It was good, baby.
It's a good day.
So I'm happy.
So just to kind of wrap up this conversation, we'll kind of wrap up this conversation as we get to the end of the show, and just so you know, it's a free trade market in the yard sale game, and I think that's what you have to understand is that it's all negotiation. It's survival of the fittest, and you have to either really care about what you're trying to sell, or you have to, if you're trying to buy, throw caution to the wind and just lowball them and see what happens. Worst case scenario, you pay another quarter.
Yeah, and some of the stuff they paid an extra quarter, and I was like, dude, just pay your fucking quarter and be done with it.
Exactly. So let me ask you this then. So, first show of 2020, do you have any New Year's resolutions?
I do have a couple New Year's resolutions, but I'm not calling them New Year's resolutions. I'm calling them things to put on my gravestone. We had a podcast, remember, earlier in this year where we said what 3 things we put on our tombstone. So I call them items to put on my tombstone.
Okay. What
so I definitely am excited about planning a 10-year trip for Noreen. So I have said that I want to plan a really nice trip for us for our 10-year anniversary. So I'll be putting that together. I want to join a writing club, like a writing club in Phoenix. So I've looked at a couple writing clubs that are down there, and I want to join a writing club. And then this year, I'm hoping to also reach $10,000 in my 401k. I started putting into my 401k recently, and so I want to reach a certain dollar amount. So
I think those are fair goals. Those are more goals than actual resolutions. So I think that works out pretty well.
What about you?
I am going to not drink beer in 2020.
Not drink beer at all.
Not drink beer. My goal is not to drink beer, and it's not that I don't like it. It's just that I've been more heading toward hard liquor, like whiskey and tequila, and just drinking it straight.
Yep, sipping.
Yep. And I don't hurt as much the next day.
Makes sense.
So I think just that, and just try to live a little bit healthier lifestyle. Not that I live an unhealthy lifestyle, but just kind of clean things up as I inch closer to 40.
Hey, makes sense, man. I'm with you.
You know, so why don't our listeners tell us what your New Year's resolutions are, or what you want to put on your tombstones? Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Kernedge. Or if you want to find out what Tom's New Year's resolutions are, hit him up on liquid_EP on Twitter and Instagram.
Boy, that sounds like a pretty good New Year's resolution. I'll be excited to hear about your trip to New Orleans. You'll be excited to hear about my trip to the Mexican Riviera. It'll be a great way to start the new year, buddy.
Absolutely. So that being said, Jason, why don't you take us out of here?
Well, Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for listening. We always love spreading good cheer and having a great New Year. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Kernedge.